Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to SeahawkTalk here on the Salve Athletics Network, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. Welcome back here on a Monday. We've got a great show lined up for you. Today, we'll be joined by special guests Jody Muradian, Adam Zakara, Rich Bernasconi, and head coach of our baseball team, Eric Sorella. Cannot wait to get to them and our producers to lead off the show. But first, like always, we want to remind you to keep your distance. That's Ed Habershaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance from the Shake, Rhode Island-based band, with a message that we can apply worldwide. Social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, we've heard all about it. We will remind you each and every day here on the Seahawk Talk program to abide by those simple things. So without any further ado, I'm going to get to our producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Fellas, how was your weekend, and what have we got to lead off the show here today?
Had a pretty good weekend, but like you said in pre-show, Andrew, I just wish it was a little bit longer. It never seems to be long enough. I don't know how about you, Joey? It looks like you're back to your home.
Yeah, I'm back home. So it's like eternal weekend, but also not. It's real cold here. It's much colder than Newport, which is unexpected.
But we're supposed to be getting that Arctic, the Arctic blast.
Oh yeah, my dad told me about that.
Night.
Sounds like a flavor of Gatorade.
I think it is.
It probably is.
It's a good one.
Probably is. Speaking of the weather, I guess you could call this a weather-related item, Michael. I think you had something here for us that was of interest.
So pretty cool. I saw this from the Newport patch today. There's supposed to be what is called the Leonoid meteor shower. Get you a little picture right up here. The last time this was visible in the United States was 1966, actually, over the southwest part of the United States. So this will be coming up over where it will be visible to us November 16th through the 17th. So tonight, actually. Best time to view this is around 3 a.m. November 17th. So if you can stay up a little late that night, maybe you just sleep in a little bit more today. I don't know, rearrange your sleep schedule a bit and catch this meteor shower, because it's pretty rare, and apparently it's got a reputation for being a pretty dazzling show. So hopefully, if you're awake, you can catch this thing out. And if you want to see this article for more information, it's under the Newport patch. So take a look. It's pretty cool. So
if you want to totally destroy your circadian rhythm, catch out the Leonid. Yeah, it's a tough call, because it's so that'd be what, tonight into tomorrow. You're saying 16. So tomorrow at 3 a.m. So you have to do the calculus here. Do I stay up and go to bed at 4 or 5, or do I? Yeah, exactly. Power nap from 11 to 3. Get up, watch it, then go back to sleep. It all depends on whatever you have to do first thing on
the next day
on Tuesday. Whatever our Tuesday plans are, that's how you inform.
Yeah, hopefully your Wednesday's open, so you got enough time Tuesday to view it. Also, 3 a.m. is not bad if you do want to do this. Here's what I would do: maybe go to bed at 7, like you're retired, and then wake up around
you're retired,
and then you can get some breakfast at Gary's Handy Lunch, which is one of my favorite places. This is not an ad for Gary's, by the way, but it's really good, and it's right down the street, and it opens at 5 a.m. It's like one of the earliest places I've seen open in Newport.
I don't know if I agree with that shot at retired people there going to bed at 7. I mean, most of the retired people I know stay up all night long. They go to bed at midnight. They wake up at 3. They don't sleep. Like my Nana never slept. She'd sleep 3 hours. So I don't know. I don't know if that tracks. We'll have to.
Maybe it definitely varies a bit more. Maybe that was a bit of a broad generalization. But yeah, you are correct.
My grandparents.
Yeah. Because my mom does go to bed around that time too, and she still works. So
yeah, okay. Well, let's go to my story, because mine's trying to escape. Yeah. Can I go down low enough to get her? No. Okay, I'm gonna lift you up. There she is. So, okay, this is Chuchi, and I swear this is more of a story than just showing off my cute new dog. She's not mine. So essentially, I'm gonna let her go. She's trying to get up. Essentially, my story for today is more of a PSA of so during COVID, there you go. Yeah, she's not a fan. But I want to. There's a point here. During COVID, a record number of dogs are being surrendered because people can't take care of them and can't afford to take care of them due to COVID and everything. And so Chuchi's a different story. Chuchi's dad is in the hospital right now for something else. He's just old, and he was at the animal hospital my mom works at. And instead of just leaving her there for the whole time, we were like, well, we can, watch her until he gets better or until his daughter comes and picks her up or whatever. But I would just definitely say, like, if you, have the monetary means, definitely consider fostering a dog, because a lot of shelters are overwhelmed right now. Or at least, like, donate time or money. Like in Newport, or I guess it's not in Newport, but near Newport, there's the Potter League animal shelter. I don't dare look at like how many dogs they have, because it's gonna like break my heart. But like, if you have the financial means, adopt or just foster a dog. Or if you can't do that, like go like in Spring Specimen when I come back, that's where I'm probably going to do the rest of my hours for community service, is help them out, because they're getting really overwhelmed. And yeah, dogs.
Yeah, I've noticed that becoming more popular, Joey. Actually, one of my roommates his parents started fostering dogs over this break, and they have gotten 3 already. So it's good too, if you're just looking, if you don't really want a dog permanently, but you're just looking to kind of have a cute little friend around the house for a few weeks. I think it's a good idea.
She's a good motivator to get outside, and I don't dare say the word, but the word that starts with W, and it's got 4 letters. She loves it, so like I have to go, get some exercise.
My dog learned how to spell. When I was growing up, we'd spell the WALK word, and he started to know. He just heard. I don't think he actually learned how to spell. Just hearing WALK became like a word,
Yeah.
It was one phonetic word.
Yeah, she,
WALK. I love WALKs.
There's a handful of trigger words she's got. Like, it's like outside, car, any of those words. Like they're all the same to her. Yeah, and then she she even got like out now. Like my mom just said out, and then she was like she's wild. She's a Chihuahua. She's 9, but she acts like she's like 4. Like she's wild, man. Like I'm surprised she doesn't like jump up in my lap like on her own, because she can she's got some, for tiny legs, she can jump pretty high.
Yeah. You'll have to put some kind of video together for us, Joey. Get some cute clips and just give us 30 seconds.
I'll get some clips. Some clips.
Nothing boosts listenership or viewership more than dogs doing fun things. Exactly. That would be. We were talking before about about content. Generating some new content. If we just have a segment on dog tricks, that'll. I
don't know that she can do tricks. That can be like a whole video series. Like, let's find out how many tricks she knows.
Just dogs looking cute. I mean, dogs will fill any and all voids for any and all types of programming. It does not matter what you normally do. If a politics show decided to have 10 minutes of just dogs, people will watch. It does not matter.
Yeah, I've seen some stations do that. They just have quick little clips of dogs. I think Fox was doing it the other night. Why not? And get some close-ups too. Those are the best. Close-ups with a wide-angle lens.
Yeah.
Did either of you two watch the New England Patriots Baltimore Ravens football game last night?
Sporadically.
No. I saw
sporadically.
I heard about it.
Well, at the end of the game, the Ravens got the ball back with about a minute and change, no timeouts, for a chance to go down the field and with a touchdown tie the game, extra point win the game. And at that point, it had been raining steadily throughout the game. Well, at that point, literally the floodgates opened, and it was like somebody was dumping the Atlantic Ocean into Gillette Stadium, and the Ravens couldn't do it. I mean, you can't throw a football in conditions like that. It's near impossible to even see. Let alone catch. So the Patriots defense got to stop and hung on.
Yeah, I forgot about
what was funny after seeing the slew of faux conspiracy theories being like, Bill Belichick can control the weather, the NFL should launch an investigation.
Yeah, it's not like Lamar
because as soon as the game ended, it was like 4th down and the Ravens, the ball went incomplete. Patriots get the ball back. They're just going to take a knee and the game's over. All of a sudden, the rain stopped.
Where
Completely cleared up.
This was at Gillette Stadium.
This is at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't put it past
did
them.
you guys get any of the storm yesterday? Because I totally forgot that happened. Yeah, there was like a tornado outside. Basically, I can't remember when my dad said it landed.
Earlier in the day. It was a front. Yeah, we're just doing a whole weather segment, I guess. Now a front was coming through the Midwest, and you saw the Cleveland Texans game basically get ruined because of this storm. And then when it started here on 8:00, my dad's like, "Oh, this is the same storm that Cleveland
that's
was
around."
getting." I was like, "Oh, that makes sense because it's just coming across." Yeah, it was pouring here.
It was pretty bad.
Unbelievable. And also too, the waves right outside my apartment sounded like a train going by.
Yeah. I'm gonna get
the lights started flickering, and I was like, "Okay, time to go to bed." Turned all my stuff off. I was like,
Yeah.
If you saw Ocean Drive last night, we went for just about 5 minutes just to check it out. Parked. We did not drive on it. No, we just parked and like watched from a safe. It was crazy. I'll try to find some. It might be some crude footage, but I'll find some footage nonetheless of the waves breaking over the seawall. It was.
I was gonna say, quickest way to kill a car: drive it through salt water. So that's why you have to be careful in those situations.
That's why you take your friend's car.
Yes. Oh, true. Thinking ahead.
Yes.
All right, well, fellas, I'm gonna let you guys get to work behind the scenes, producing the show, and we'll talk to you again at the close.
All right.
That's Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. We're gonna get now to our first guest of the day and of the week, Jody Meridian, the athletic director here at Salve Regina. Jody, how are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You liked the dog content. I can tell you approved of the dogs.
Oh my gosh, I loved it, but I know we need more people to do that. I know last year on our giving tree, you could pick something for the animal shelter. I will admit I did that.
I know. If I could, my girlfriend's listening. I want a dog. If I could, I would, because right now, currently, our lease does not allow us to have pets. So
yeah,
I would be jumping in on helping out on the dog.
I think you should get a new apartment.
It's been discussed. We're currently litigating that situation.
Yeah, I'll be the judge if you want.
Jody, what like we said, every week, every day, things are changing, things are new. Give us the most up to date at 3:00 on Monday, November 16th, institutional update for Salve Regina.
So the update is now that winter sports will be winding down in the next 10 days through Thanksgiving, and then we'll take a pause. School will start January 18th, so seems like we'll have no activities in between then, and we've tried to move back a little bit to phase 1 because the number of contacts and cases in Rhode Island is going up. So our main priority still is just, safety, and for them to practice when the season's competitions won't be starting till at the earliest February. We just want to make sure we do everything that we can to keep people safe. So the update is all the fall sports finished, the spring sports that we're practicing in the fall finished this weekend and this past weekend, and then the rest are winding down. So it's just going to be interesting because all the reports are it's not getting better right now. So that caused our concern and our feelings about how we make sure we don't push something that's not necessary at this point. And as far as Salve, students can choose to go home for Thanksgiving, but if they choose to go home, they won't come back. They'll just study remotely, because obviously if you have students going to every part of the country and there's more states on the caution list, it would be impossible, because we finish up with exams, shortly after Thanksgiving break. So right now, students have till Wednesday, and if they want to stay, then they have to stay over Thanksgiving. So those are all the Salve updates as we know it. It's a beautiful day. Everybody can be outside, though.
True. That's it. The better the weather is, I'm not gonna complain as long as it stays sunny and clear, that's going to
Yeah.
help everybody in all facets out.
And we do have, just for example, women's ice hockey has gone down to Topa to do their conditioning so they can be spaced apart. But so teams are using things other than traditional venues.
Necessity is the mother of all invention.
Yeah, it's kind of, and then the NCAA is just releasing information on the reacclimatization for the spring, and it's interesting because Division I basketball, the indication is they're going to 2 sites instead of having teams spread around. So for the NCAA tournament, it'll be a different, almost as if they're bubbling, but bringing people to a minimal number of locations.
Yeah. Do you think that with D1 basketball, they're starting up shortly here, they're kind of the next big hurdle? We've talked about the D1s kind of being the guinea pigs for everybody else. We've seen what D1 football has been playing, and now there have been games canceled and teams shut down, but it hasn't seemed, which is a good thing, that anything is spreading on the field.
No.
All that's outside, though. Now the next hurdle is what happens with basketball, right? And I think everybody's going to be watching that very closely.
I think that basketball, because of the small numbers, schools can really put a lot of resources and care into who they're around, where they're living, where they're eating. Because I found even here at Salve, and it seems at most places, team activities, well, as far as Salve for sure, it's not team activities that have caused any spread or close contacts, but they all are friends and they all live together. And so it seems like it's where they're living, they're together more. So that's why when you could have a bubble like the NBA, it worked. But then even when you see huge SEC football games can't go.
Yeah.
And then, so I would say they're the guinea pigs and they're the ones that have the ability to give it the best shot. And that literally is testing 3 times a week at a minimum when you chartering flights. Like they have resources to keep people safe.
Yeah. And I was going to say too that, like you talked about the necessary things at the moment, practicing being winded down or rolled back can be frustrating, but at least right now, everything is still on track as far as what we're still hopeful for, which is playing games in some form or fashion in the spring.
Yeah, and I know it's hard for young people because one, they really don't even get symptoms, a lot of them. So for us saying, but we have to be so careful, but it's very, very real. And our goal is to play winter sports and have competitions from February, whatever date, until at least the end of March. And there's all sorts of models, like you could take basketball and just do conference. And then if the NCAA hasn't canceled winter championships, then you would have AQ. You could actually then let the other schools keep going if they wanted. Like there's a bunch of models you can do that could make some really good seasons for winter sports. But practicing over Thanksgiving isn't one of them.
I was going to ask, I want to see if I can pull up this image. There's got to be so many things going through, scenarios, planning. It kind of makes me think of this scene from the show Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Is there a wall that's like this of the conspiracy theory, almost of like, wait, we could do this and this and this. Like, how do you keep all of it organized? Is there a big binder that just says like sports with COVID? Loop papers all over the place. How do you keep it all sorted? Because it's changing so frequently.
It's funny in this environment, we're all learning to be able to throw everything on the wall and get a little less nervous than we used to. I mean, you figure we had the election, we have trying to get sports going, having models and changing the weeks and then changing the championship format. So, well, I will say, I just do a quick shout out, but our conference has been excellent. We get together once a week, and I know, I'm sure we drive the commissioner and Doug crazy because every week it's different. And then we say to them, now, how could you do that schedule? And they're the ones that come up with all these great scenarios. The scheduling people are meeting tomorrow, actually. So, I mean, they're really looking at next year, but they'll be looking at everything. So, yeah, I know it's real life lessons come out of uncertainty. Like, what do you do when you wake up at 3:30 a.m.? I watch your reruns.
I was gonna, or go watch the Leonids. If you wake up at 3:30,
right.
This to tomorrow, or tomorrow morning, go watch the meteor shower. It's
So
funny you say that because I've been waking up randomly. At first, I thought it was the Salve alerts, wanting me to do it, but like that's at 4:30. Now
Right.
you know what maybe it's the time change. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe my body was used to waking up at 4:30 when my phone would buzz and be like, "Who's texting me at 4:30?" Oh,
Well,
it's just my COVID thing. Now
Yeah.
it's at 3:30. Maybe that's what happened.
So here's a public service for you. Your phone doesn't have to buzz. You can put it on sleep until 6 a.m.
I guess. But then what if my alarm doesn't? But then the alarm's on silent too.
Not if it's after. No, and oh my, and you're young. You should be able to figure this all out. But yeah, so I think you had two good public services. When I wake up, I'm going to watch the asteroid meteor. And if I could, I would adopt a dog to watch it with me.
Awesome. All right. Jody, thank you for coming on, taking the time, and can't wait to talk to you next week. And again, we'll just keep sorting through everything. And,
I'll have some new things.
For sure.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
All right. That's Jody Muradian, the athletic director here at Salve Regina. We're going to go next to an assistant coach with our men's lacrosse team, Rich Bernasconi. Rich, how are we doing?
Andrew, I'm doing great today. How are you?
Good. You guys, as Jody said, wrapping up this fall season, practice season. Everybody kind of calls it something different. How would you kind of categorize how that has gone and went and how successful it was for your team?
I thought it was great on many levels, Andrew. The only disappointment was we had to stop after this week. I think we had one more week scheduled, 3 more practices, but going back to phase 1 and so forth, we just kind of ended it. But there's a lot of guys out there, and everybody's enthusiastic, which is the great part for us. And the sticks are good, and just it's an overall positive attitude. And I think that would be the main thing, the attitude, and just being around the guys and the guys being around each other. It's kind of therapeutic.
Yeah. I was going to say, any thoughts on how, say, your seniors, who are probably one of the classes that's most impacted by the situation because of all the uncertainty for themselves personally and then for the team, how do you think they've handled this moment and contributed towards that positive attitude and mentality and everything for the team?
Yeah, no, they've been great, Andrew. We had the seniors like a little meeting before practice last night, and my first reaction was, wow, look how many of you guys there are. I think there's 14 seniors all told. Which is a huge class and what bodes well for us for the season, man. We're going to have a lot of senior leadership, a lot of veteran presence out there. And they just come every day and play hard. Every guy, every senior, everybody's pushing each other. And like I said, just the whole overall attitude of the team and the excitement just to be out there, really lends itself to a good season, we hope, this year.
Yeah. Now, there will be that gap of time between when things conclude now and hopefully games, and it may be a longer gap than normal, but how will you prepare the team to take what you built in this fall and then to carry that momentum, that positive energy, and staying sharp in any form or fashion amidst a still ongoing pandemic to be ready for when the team returns to campus?
That's a great question, Andrew, because we were talking about that. I think I talked about it the last time I was on. We kind of had this late model so we could sprint when we got back into the school January 10th, but it looks like that's being pushed back again. So again, you got to adjust on the fly. And I think the only thing Coach Cooney really gets through to these guys and the guys get through to each other is you got to work on your own, especially when you're home or if you're close to a buddy at home, get together. But it's just to reiterate to these guys, stay in shape, because again, most of the guys were in shape when the fall started, but there were a few who weren't. So you're kind of at the mercy of the guys doing it themselves and self-motivation and self-discipline. And I think we got tons of that though this year. So I think these guys will be ready. They know what's on the line. Like I said, 14 seniors, they feel good. All this adversity that they went through, we want to end on a positive note come springtime.
Yeah. While they're at home, what are like the simple, easy things you can do? I mean, stay in shape, just going for a run, or if you have your stick, what are the simple, easiest things you could do while you're at home?
you just go hit the wall, Andrew. You get a buddy, or you go to a brick wall and you do hundreds of reps, and maybe you go to a net and you could shoot, and you could run and shoot. There's there's a myriad of different things you could do. Not to mention, your weightlifting, running, and people are creative nowadays in this environment. So, like I said, I'd say we got 10 or 12 guys that are really like a cut above in shape above the rest of the group. But like I said, it's up to those guys, and that's what we try to reiterate. Every guy has to be responsible for themselves and be responsible to the team. And like I said, Coach Cooney and all the coaching staff, we're thinking that these guys will be able to do that, no problem.
All of the programs here at Salve Regina have started their Seahawks Take Flight campaign, major fundraising campaign for each team in the department. Everybody so far has had a really positive experience being a part of making the videos that each team got to make. Talk about, if you can, what that fundraising will mean for your program. If somebody wants to contribute towards the Salve Regina men's lacrosse team, what they'll know that those funds will be going towards and what that will help for.
Well, gosh, Coach Cooney just bought a whole bunch of helmets. I think we talked about that last time, or he did. I didn't. I think he was on with you. Yep. Helmets, equipment. Another thing that we provide that a lot of schools in our conference don't provide is sticks, shafts, gloves, that sort of thing. And that comes, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but when Coach fundraises or we do all this fundraising activity, most of it goes right into equipment or gear or whatever it is. But that's the type of stuff that I think it pays for. Again, that's more of a Coach Cooney question. But I do know a lot of that money kicks right back in terms of equipment.
Yeah, kind of a fun question. I was talking at the top of the show with the producers about last night's Patriots game, played in an absolute deluge, and for teams, and I know guys having played in games like that, when you win, it's great. You remember it fondly. If you're on the losing end of a game like that, you remember like, oh God, I'm freezing cold. It was awful. It was brutal. For you, playing and or coaching, what's the worst weather you've ever been a part of?
There's been a couple bad rain games. Actually, I remember like a high school football game where it snowed once. That was kind of crazy, but nothing too crazy. Cold. I remember a lot of cold games.
Yeah.
In recent years, those are especially for lacrosse. I mean, actually, I was just telling someone today, if we start our season playing games or start the season March 1st, that's the way it used to be in the dark ages when I played. The game started in March. Now we're playing games in mid-February. So those are the games that really kind of I remember from lacrosse, just the cold weather, not so much rain. But that was a great win last night for the Patriots, Andrew. That was that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I talked with friends about that game. I said, well, here's the way the Patriots can win. They control the clock, they run the ball, they don't turn it over. Conversely, they got to get stops on defense, they got to get turnovers, and the rain is going to need to completely pour the whole game. Well, it could just go. It was literally and figuratively the perfect storm of things for the Patriots last night. So they'll take it. I mean, they just need W's at this point to try and get back in the playoff conversation. So
exactly. And Andrew, we got to ask you. I know Marco Mongelli mentioned it last week. A big, not a controversy, but a big topic of conversation around the team is, why does Andrew have the Matt Castle jersey in the background? We understand Tom Brady or Julian Edelman or something, but there's got to be we're really intrigued by that on the men's lacrosse team.
Interesting note about that. Last night in the game, Jacoby Myers, former high school quarterback turned wide receiver, threw a touchdown pass on a double pass play. First player in a Patriots uniform, number 16, to throw a touchdown since Matt Castle. Before that, the great Scott Zolak. The reason I have the Castle jersey,
Jim Plunkett too, Andrew. Andrew, I'm going to take you back even further. To Jim Plunkett.
We can keep going back. Talk about the dark ages of Patriots lore. So I got that jersey in 2008 when Brady went down and Castle became the starter. Because I actually really enjoyed that season. The Patriots went. I mean, you took a 16-0 team and went 11-5 with it. So that tells you the difference between Brady and Castle, how much a quarterback makes a difference.
It didn't make the playoffs, so oddly enough. The Patriots had a good year. They did not make the playoffs,
I know.
If I remember correctly.
No, they lost out in a tiebreaker with the Dolphins and the Jets. Brett Favre just needed to beat the Dolphins in Week 17, and lo and behold, Brett Favre throws an interception to lose the game.
Typical Brett Favre fashion.
But I enjoyed that season because the Patriots were kind of like that underdog. Seeing Matt Castle got progressively better throughout the year, which was fun to watch. A young guy who everybody doubted, kind of overcome everything. So I bought the Castle jersey because I said this is just going to be so funny. It's a conversation piece. Because who else has? Everybody's got a Tom Brady jersey. Everybody's got a Gronk jersey.
We were very we knew that there's got to be a story behind it.
I don't even know if Matt Castle
Mystery
has a Matt
solved.
Castle jersey. Matt Castle probably doesn't even have no. He's probably, me and him are the only guys that actually still have a Matt Castle jersey. Like, I love having those obscure, like a Marcus Banks is a guy who was like a role player on the Celtics. All he did was play defense in brick threes, but he was like a cult kind of player. I'd love Brian Scalabrine. Like, who would you want? I'd rather have that jersey because it's funny than a Brady. Now, I do have a Brady jersey. I also have my favorite Patriot player of all time, Troy Brown. I have his jersey. So I'd rather have the more obscure, a Dan Copen jersey. Like, who gets linemen, in obscure middle linebacker jerseys? Nobody. That's why it's fun. It's worth it.
Well, my only Patriot jersey, Andrew, back in the day, I still have was my Ty Law jersey. That's my only Patriots jersey
That's a really good one to have. That is a good one to have. That is a great one to have. So, yeah, that's the story. That's the story behind that jersey. So I'm keeping it there for a while. While the Patriots, hey, again, they could go 11 and if they go on a streak, they could go 11-5 this year and still not make the playoffs because the AFC is that good this year. So there could be a lot of parallels between this year and that 08 team. But
like Coach Belichick says, Andrew, hour by hour, day by day. Even you don't know what's going to happen. We got to be ready for anything. And that's what we try to tell the kids. So you be ready for anything. Get up, come with energy, come with positivity, and just be ready what they throw at you. That's all.
And if you can control the weather too, that's great. All right, Rich. Great catching up with you. Good luck. I don't know if we'll talk to you again before hopefully a season kicks off, but always great to catch up
Andrew,
with you and pick your brain.
We're looking forward to hearing you call some games this year.
I'm looking forward to that as well. If I call game, I'm cutting this hair when I'm calling a live sporting event. So I'm hoping that's not next fall. I am hoping that sometime in maybe mid-February. Freezing at Gaudet or Topa. I'll take it.
Topa.
All righty. Take it easy now,
Bye,
Rich.
Andrew.
That's Rich Bernasconi, assistant coach with our men's team. We're going now to the head coach of our men's and women's tennis teams. Boy, does that look nice out there. Adam Zakara, how are we doing?
How are you? Good to see you, Andrew.
Where are we? That looks gorgeous.
I'm out on a porch on the second floor of Cary Mansion.
Ooh. Yeah. See, this is people. Sal Regina sells itself. I mean, come on, look at that. Like, this is beautiful, right?
Yep.
Just off that thought, when you're recruiting, is part of the biggest part of that, you're just like, I know this person's close to saying yes or wanting to come here. As soon as I get them on campus, I know it's a done deal. Like, how much does the campus sell to people when you're talking to them and then they come and it's like, wow.
I think that's a huge factor. I mean, unquestionably. And I always mention the beauty of it is obvious, right? But then I mention about the dorms. And I always say that you'll be hard pressed to find another college or university anywhere really that has dorms that can compare to ours. They're all individual, unique homes. Granted, we do have Residence Hall and Walgreen and Miley, which are a little more like your typical dorm situation. But when you think of, Founders Hall and Watts Sherman and Wallace and Stoneacre, and these kids really have it made living here on quite a campus with views like this everywhere.
Yeah. Was it a big factor for you? You're a Sal Regina alum. Did you know anything about the school, and then did you come and say? Because for me, that's what sold me on my college experience is going to a campus, and I knew instantly this is the place. Did that factor at all for you for Salve?
Yeah, it really did. It actually happened a little bit before I even got on Salve's campus when I was coming over the Newport Bridge and looking into the harbor. And I came from about 2 hours from the coast in Connecticut, town called Brookfield by Danbury, Connecticut. So, we were near a lake, but nothing like living on the ocean. And I just fell in love that first day. It was a July. I came up for an interview with a gentleman named Grady Yarrow, who I still keep in touch with.
Things have kind of wrapped up for practice-wise for a lot of the teams and stuff. So how will you prepare your team for this gap between things being closed up, kind of battening down the hatches, and then hopefully hitting the ground running come second semester? What kind of plan have you outlined for your team to stay ready and stay sharp?
They're doing a great job on both sides, men and women. It was really nice to be able to practice. Sadly, we couldn't compete against other schools, but to practice 5 or 6 days a week, we were able to improve out there, work on game situation, match situation. And also, and I've mentioned this before, we've got so many new players on both teams. There's 6 on the women's, 7 on the men's. So it's been great to use that time to really form some camaraderie, work on new technique for these guys. And I think both sides are prepared for a season, hoping that it will happen in the spring.
Yep. I've been asking this of all of our coaches and players and stuff. Everybody has started the Seahawks Take Flight campaign, a major fundraising effort for all of our teams. Talk about what it was like for that process of making, the videos for your team to promote your team and what you're trying to do, and what those funds will go towards to help the Sal Regina men's and women's tennis programs.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually on the top of my list of things to do, is get some emails out with the link of that video, as well as getting it on both our Instagram sites for men's and women's tennis. It was great doing the video. Andrew Bake ran it, and he does a really good job. We did it outside at Macaulay Hall, again, gorgeous setting, and he kind of told me what I needed to say. I had 1 minute, and I think it was effective. So now I just have to get the word out. I think we have about 15 more days left of this campaign. And what we will use the funds for, we've got so much to use them for. We're currently looking to get new windscreens that'll say Seahawks on them. We just had our courts resurfaced and our fences reconstructed. So now we want to dress them up a little bit. We also want to get some matching things to add to our uniform, matching sneakers with Salve's color. We had a demo pair made that everyone agrees on and loves. And then we'll continuously fundraise for spring break trips, and might not happen this spring. We're not planning one as of yet because of the pandemic, but I want to have that as an annual trip like baseball does and some other sports.
Yeah. Now, tennis is a little different because I've asked everybody about this weather question. There are pretty kind of strict guidelines about, like, listen, if it's raining, you can't play tennis, or even if it's a certain degree of cold, can't play. So it makes it hard to kind of answer this question, but is there a situation where you say the worst weather you've ever, what's been that borderline where you've played in poor conditions, either played in or had to coach in? Does it really come down to darkness? Is that really the only element that you actually that struggle with in tennis?
That's a fun question, actually. So I think there is actually a rule in tennis that if it's 38 degrees or lower, the match needs to be postponed. Now, don't count on that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. Then as far as extreme conditions that I've gone through, now keep in mind we've got 2 seasons, right? So the women's season is in the fall and the men's season is in the spring. And I always say the women have it made being in the fall weather-wise, because we can get some 80-degree days in September, and rarely does it go below 60. However, the March and April are a whole nother story, and it can be pretty nasty, windy, especially it gets darker a little earlier. And we have had some issues with darkness. My own personal experience, turn the clock way back. I was at a school called Taft in Watertown, Connecticut. I think I was around 14 years old, playing a school up in Deerfield, Massachusetts called Deerfield. And I was on the JV tennis team at the time. I think I was a sophomore, and it literally was snowing during our match against Deerfield. And I'm waiting for them to cancel it. And it was the big snowflakes coming down, and they have green clay courts up there, the hard true. And it was just kind of soaking in nicely, and it certainly wasn't getting slick. So we played the match out in snow. It was,
oh my gosh,
it was pretty memorable. Yeah.
I say that's the one. You wouldn't think about playing tennis in cleats, but if you had cleats, they would have come in handy, right?
Yeah, well, like I said, because they had a clay court surface up there, I think they probably still do. They had a really nice, that's called hard true. It's a green clay, unlike the red clay, which is where the French Opens played.
Yep.
But when it rains or snows, it's not going to get slick like an asphalt court will get.
Wow. Incredible. So I guess as long as if it's snowing but 40 degrees, game on.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, Adam, great to see you. Looks gorgeous. I'm gonna let you continue to enjoy the outdoors here while we still can.
Little panoramic there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely spectacular. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I'd say that picture is worth 10,000 words.
I thought you'd like that, Andrew. All right. Well, hey, great to see you too. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you. That's Adam Zakar, the head coach of our men's and women's tennis team. And we're going to go lastly to the head coach of our baseball team. He looks like he's outside as well enjoying the day. Eric Sorrell. Eric, are you on a golf course? Is that where we are?
No, I wouldn't have my mask with me if I was on the golf course. This is Brother Reynolds doing some work out here.
Always at work. Greenskeeper of Reynolds Field. I was going to ask you first. We'll just start there. What is the work that is being done on the field? What needs to happen? What are you aiming to accomplish?
Resodding some spots. We're tying up some nets and edging out the infield and just kind of making sure the field's put to rest the way it needs to be. Otherwise, when you take the tarp off or you get ready to go in the spring, it won't be ready to go. So the better you leave it, the better it's going to be when you're ready to go in hopefully February.
Because of the lack of action that has happened on the field this fall, potentially could this be the best Reynolds has ever looked this spring?
I thought it looked better last spring personally, just because we fundraised a bunch of money and had North Turf come down and put about 15,000 into the field with sodding and edging and leveling and laser grading and putting new product on and everything. I think that was probably the best that it looked, but I think it'll be close.
You mentioned fundraising there. As I've asked all of our guests here today, the Seahawks Take Flight campaign has started, major fundraising effort. Just your thoughts on the experience of going through that process. Every team got to make a little video promoting their program, and then what that money will go towards for your program. I know you guys do a lot of fundraising work and really pour it back into the program. So talk about what anybody who's interested in giving, what they'll be giving to.
I think really we're just continuing to add on to the facility here. We just, for example, I'm going to take my phone away real quick. So these are coaches' boxes here because it's just an area where people stand all the time and the grass ends up dying, whether it's in the summer or the fall or the spring. And so just continually trying to add on to the facility. Right behind me, the alumni area that was built just last spring. But there's a million things that I want to do here. It's just a matter of, getting that approval. I'm hoping a fence can go up in left field at some point. And, we want to continue to improve the spectator, seating and accommodations for people. And, but it's everything that we fundraise is going to go directly back into the facility, whether it is a cage or mounds or something like that, or it's going to be for the viewers or just the general aesthetics. It's not like we're saving money and collecting interest on it. So I like to make sure I do at least one big project a year, just so if you come back once a year, which a lot of alumni, happen to do for a game or for a weekend, they tend to notice that.
Yeah. I was going to say heated press box and a multi-camera setup, right? That's going to be in the cards too, correct?
Yeah, multi-camera. Actually, Ed just told me something the other day. I forget exactly what he said, but something about being able to use multi-cameras because, I think that with the way baseball's going and you see it in Division I college baseball now with instant replays and stuff. You can't expect two guys to get every call right. And If you do have multiple cameras and you have some angles, I mean, I think it's just a nice tool. I'd rather wait 60 seconds or 90 seconds to move on in the game if we can make sure that we get calls right. And when you get calls right, I think the best team wins more times than not.
2 guys might not make the call. I think 3 or 4 guys sometimes don't get the call right.
You're right. I mean, certainly we've had crews of 3 or 4, and it's not a perfect system, but whether it's with 2 people, I'm starting to see coaches almost, coach to take advantage of that situation, which now we're just getting into a realm of its own with teaching kids how to take advantage of the umpires. Whereas I mean, I just tell them there's not many 2-man crews that are going to get a certain call right, so just keep doing it this way.
How would you feel? I mean, if replay became a part of D3 baseball at routinely, like at the conference level for you guys, would you like that? We always want to get calls right, but what happens with what we've seen with replay? We start to get into like splitting hairs and trying to analyze things down to a fraction of a second, and maybe calls get reversed where normally just by refs using their eyes you'd say, oh yeah, that guy's out, and nobody questions it. But oh, we're gonna go nitty gritty here and pick it apart. Would you like that? Or would you find that you'd be yelling at replay more than championing that it got the call right?
I'm always for getting the call right. It's obviously it's going to go against us sometimes too, but I think that when you get all the calls right, I think typically the best team will win. And the big thing with replay is what the play is called on the field. Yeah. Because they can, as long as there's not enough evidence to overturn, then they're going to go with the call on the field 9 out of 10 times. And that's what you see in football too. It's the most important thing, and the announcers always go back to it is, well, the call on the field was this. So remember, there has to be enough evidence to overturn this. And if there's not enough, they're just going to go with the call on the field. And I think what the heck, you can hire a few more work study and just have them sit out here with a camera. And if they could make it quick, I would be all for it.
We spoke last week about the Masters. The a tradition like no other, truly, this year, because it happened in the fall. Your thoughts on how much you got to enjoy of that and Dustin Johnson's performance?
Well, remember I gave you like my top 5. I think it was DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, John Rahm, Rory, and Justin Thomas.
Yep.
And 3 out of those 5 were in the top.
Yep.
So I think I did a pretty good job. Maybe I have to start gambling on that and make a little side money.
We do not encourage the betting.
I'll have to do it through an alias or something. But it was great. I mean, really unbelievable. I thought that you could see the first 2 days, and typically what happens with golf tournaments is where your tee time is. Depending on the time of day, like you can have an advantage. So the first day, played really soft, so you could really attack greens. And I thought the first 2 days of scoring, you had the ability to really score. And I thought towards the end of the second day, it started to firm up a little bit more, and it got a little bit more difficult and played a little bit more traditional. And that kind of carried over into the weekend as well, because guys were trying to make shots that typically would spin up and stop, and they were, like Tiger on the par 3. I mean, spinning up balls and rolling in the water. That didn't happen for the first at least 1.5 days. But it's just awesome to see those guys at that level and how good they are, and make a really challenging course at Augusta look, like we're over at Jamestown. It's unbelievable.
You mentioned John Rahm there. He had an insane shot. I think it was in a practice round. I'm pretty sure. It did not count for anything. Doesn't matter. A hole-in-one that he skipped across the pond at 16, and then it rolled in. Have you ever in your life had a shot? Have you ever tried to skip the ball off the water? I'll just ask you that.
I've never tried it.
I've had a bunch go in the water. Never gotten them to skip.
Go in the water. I will say this. I was golfing with Matt Finlayson. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and we were down at we were down at Richmond, and on the 18th hole, there's water in front of the green, kind of to the left, and it was a really close. I think it was a 1 or 2 stroke match, and he hit one really thin, so he kind of sculled it, and it was a low line drive that ended up skipping across the water once or twice and bouncing over. And that was one of the more incredible things that I've seen. But I could sit there with a million balls and from sunrise to sunset and try and hit that same shot, or just for the heck of it, try and hit a hole in one.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would happen. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that in our lifetime. Maybe a hole in one, but not. He skipped it 3 or 4 times, and then he must have traveled close to 100 yards on the green, just rolling. It's incredible.
Unbelievable. Last thing, Eric, I've asked this of all of our coaches here today. With the weather last night in the Patriots game, it made me think about bad weather games and things like that. What are the worst conditions you've ever played in or coached through?
I mean, there's so many. I don't know that I could sit here and think of one. We were playing University of Virginia at in Charlottesville when they were ranked number 1 in the country. I want to say it was 2010 or 2011 at URI, and it was snowing, and they had one of the best pitchers in the country on the mound, and it was the coldest environment I've ever been a part of, just because there was no sun too. It was just really cold, windy, snowy. And I remember thinking, why am I doing this for a living? But I feel like I feel that way at least 8 to 10 times in the spring, with games where it just hits you. And for me, it's my feet and my hands, and that's why you're gonna see me wear a hat a lot. If I can keep my feet and my hands warm, then I'm fine generally. But Zach, I just heard Adam say 38 degrees. Opening day here against Fitchburg State was 33, 34 degrees. I think it might have topped out at 36, maybe.
And breezy.
Yeah, all right. I mean, the wind doesn't stop in the spring. It doesn't stop until June. So, just we have it the worst. It's the longest. We're out here for doubleheaders. Softball's in the same boat, but they're a lot quicker and they're a lot shorter. They don't have BP 2 hours before the game and the same exact setup as baseball. Tennis. There's nothing like baseball in the spring, and that's always a good thing.
Which condition would you least want to have? The wind, the cold, snow, rain? If you had to I never want this, which would it be? Rain?
Rain you can't play. Snow. Snow is just the worst. I think snow is just depressing. But if it's gonna be cold, at least the sun can make a difference. I think when you get the dreary, gray, windy, raw days, those are the coldest.
Like a playoff game against Gordon.
Exactly. That's as cold as it gets.
All right, Eric, great catching up with you. I'll let you get back to attending the field, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's Eric Sorella, the head coach of the baseball team. We're going to go right to our producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to help close out today's program. Fellas, what are your thoughts from our guests here today?
Always like hearing from Coach Sorella. I really thought he was going to mention this game we had last year. We were supposed to play Endicott, and he was out in center field with a leaf blower trying to get all the water off the field. And we as well were doing the tractor around the infield, and we were trying to just push. We were 4 guys pushing the tractor out of the mugs that kept getting caught in it. I thought that one would be mentioned, but I guess not, because we didn't technically play. But that one was a horrible game. I thought he would bring that up.
Yeah, I remember too. I think I was with Barlow, and we were hitting ground balls and just watching him stop in the mud, or hitting a fly ball, and it was sinking 3 inches into the ground if it hit the ground. Yeah, that field was not playable at all. Despite a lot of people, I remember Brett Wilkes out there with the leaf blower trying to we're just moving standing water. The U.S. Geological Service could have come to named a pond on Reynolds Field that day.
Yeah, it was the most Division three site you've ever seen. Like if you put Division three in a nutshell, like this was it. It was our guys doing the field. It was great.
I have plenty of great footage from that day too. So maybe we'll put together a feature, one of those, like SB Nation deep rewinds, throwback things to
new D3 sport, competitively flowing. Easy.
Joey, any thoughts on from our guest here today?
Yeah, there was something, and I wish I remembered it now. It wasn't even that long ago. Something Coach Sorella said. He was talking about at the very beginning, talking about keeping Reynolds like nice and everything, and he just said like it was along the lines of like stuff only stays as good as like it was when you put it away. I think that's like a really good like another like we're talking about like this poster or this book of inspiration, whatever it is that we're compiling from our guests is kind of by accident, where it's just like, if you take care of something when you put it away and you have it back, it'll be in good shape still.
Yeah. Our Seahawk Talk inspirational quotes. That's what we'll effort
like
that. We'll put that in a can. We'll get back to everybody when that's
we don't even have to try. The coaches just do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, any other notes, news, anything that you guys would like to bring here at the end of the program?
Just a quick little blurb. I did look up that thing with Adam Zakar about the coldest you can play tennis. I think he said 38. It's actually 40 degrees, according to this tennis forum I found. It seems like a bunch of tennis experts. So 40 degrees is the coldest you can play tennis.
Yeah, which seems, which it's like, I get why they have those limits. It also does make it really difficult because, whereas other sports can just play through some stuff, unfortunately, it means that a lot of tennis matches, if it's 39 degrees, guess what? We don't play, which is tough for scheduling when you're trying to reschedule and move things around, especially when you're in New England in the spring, when that becomes a big factor. So it actually can become quite a hindrance, even though maybe you didn't want to be out there playing in 38 degrees. I'm sure a lot of people would rather play than not. So
38's not bad.
Yeah,
all
depends on the wind.
Up here,
all depends on the wind. As out 38 in calm is better than like 45 and windy.
Oh,
the wind always makes.
I think wind is definitely worse than temperature, probably. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, fellas, good to see you guys again after a fun weekend and great work today. Can't wait to catch up with you guys more and get to work on the show again tomorrow. So, we'll see. Is anybody gonna stay up for the Leonids? Maybe if I wake up randomly at 3:30, I'll check it out.
I might.
I'm going to give it my best shot. I will give it my best shot and try to get some more footage. Oh, I forgot. Next time, too, I'll tease this footage of the Ocean Drive with the waves breaking over it. I'll try to find that tomorrow.
Crude footage.
Crude footage. So don't get too excited.
Shot on a 2005 Motorola Razr. That's what,
It's
that's
like every single video and picture of Bigfoot.
2 pixels.
You take out your bad camera.
It's the Juke. It's the Verizon Juke. I'm telling you, that's what it was.
All right, fellas. We'll catch you guys later.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. I want to thank our guests once again today. We had Jody Moradian, Adam Zakara, Rich Bernasconi, and Eric Sorella. Big thanks to them. Like I've said at the beginning, we are live every single day, 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Salve Athletics Network. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Through Twitter. You can follow, and subscribe on any of those platforms to go back and rewatch the show. You can also subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast through Sounder FM or your favorite podcasting app to never miss a show and take Seahawk Talk on the go. Well, that'll do it for us here today on a Monday. Got a big show lined up for you as well again tomorrow. Can't wait to see you all then. Until then, I'm Andrew Pizzelli. Have a good night, everyone.